Hello, good evening and welcome to you. And this is welcome to the Nice to Meet You, the Vision Sportscast. My name is Joe Garrity and we'll be with you for the next 40 minutes or so. There's a few of you there we haven't seen for a while, so just want to wish you all a happy new year. And that's for 2020. We'll get around to 2021 some other time. Tonight we're going to meet Ireland's greatest athlete. And I can tell you this guy, in my opinion, is better than Delaney, and I don't mean John Delaney, I'm talking about Ronnie Delaney. He's better than Sonia O'Sullivan, Eamon Coughlin, and even that guy up in Sport Ireland called John Tracy. Also, we hope to chat with a real swim legend, an absolute charmer. And this man, I think he said he was 126 the last time I was talking to him, but he's on mute now, so he can't reply back, so that's good. Now, I'm going to introduce you to Pádraig Healy. Pádraig is our National Sports Development Manager, and he's only with us a wet week. Well, most of last week was wet anyway, so it must have been a wet week. He's been since last Monday week. This guy is genius. So can I, without further ado, can I ask you, Pádraig, to say hello and tell us a little about yourself?
Thanks very much, Joe. And I'd just like to echo Joe and welcoming everyone this evening to our very first Vision Sportscast. So we're really hoping you'll enjoy tonight's show and that you'll join us over the next 6 weeks. So as Joe mentioned, my name is Pádraig Healy and I'm the new Sports Development Manager with Vision Sports Ireland. I suppose a little bit of a background about myself. I'm from Dungarvan, County Waterford. In my spare time, I enjoy some running and a bit of swimming as well. I'm really excited about my new role with Vision Sports Ireland, and in particularly really excited about the opportunities that Vision Sports has over the coming months and years. I guess I would have known some of you from my time with Cork Sports Partnership, where I worked for 4 years, and in recent years I held a role of Sports Inclusion Disability Officer with Kildare Sports Partnership. So I guess to go back to my role, and really looking forward to engaging with the Vision Sports community and getting a feel for, you know, the opportunities that should be promoted. I guess are keen to work with yourselves and the key stakeholders in achieving and working towards the ultimate goal of increasing physical activity opportunities for the 55,000 people across the country, and trying to get people active in as many different ways as possible. I suppose over the next 6 weeks, it's going to be a great opportunity for myself and the Vision Sports Ireland team to get a flavour of and get to know those of you in the community. We hope to learn a little bit, learn about what sports and activities you enjoy doing, and you never know, we might even find out what 1 or 2 people have in their letter for Santa this Christmas. We also want to learn about the obstacles and challenges that we may encounter along the way, and we really hope to that we can work together to fulfill our ultimate ambition of having as many sports and activities for people to get involved in across the country. So yeah, so that's, I guess, enough about me. Over the coming 6 weeks, you're going to get to meet myself, Joe, my colleague Christina, and Aaron. So we look forward to engaging with you all. So without further ado, I'm going to begin and introduce a second introduction to our first guest of the Vision Sportscast. This guy, began his career with a double gold medal in Beijing in 2008, followed by a double gold medal in London 2012, and then 100-meter gold medal in Rio in 2016. He currently holds the T13 European record for 100 and 200 meters, the T13 world record for 100 and 200 meters, and the Paralympics T13 record for 100 and 200 meters. An absolute phenomenal career, and he's not finished just yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, delighted to welcome Jason Smyth as our first guest this evening. Thank you for joining us, Jason.
Good to be here.
That's good. All the way from Belfast.
All the way from sunny Belfast.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So, Jason, I guess to take us back to where it all began, could you tell us a little bit about your early memories of physical activity and sport, and how it all came about for yourself?
Yeah, I don't know if I could put it down to one specific moment. I just always remember growing up loving sport. I mean, my family would generally be quite sporty. I would generally take to most sports pretty well, and I even look back when I was in whatever P1 of school, which is whatever 4 or 5, that, you know, I think even of sports day, winning races. So I just love sport. I think I just naturally had an ability to, as I say, to no matter what I kind of did with, well, when you have speed, you kind of get away with a lot of other things. But football would have been what I did the most, played the most, loved the most. Just like probably a lot of young boys playing out in the streets with your friends, every extra bit of time after school during break, just doing anything really in all sports. Really though, in athletics terms, and that's kind of where things obviously have snowballed more to the success I've had, actually was very late in getting involved, and that was I'm sure most people are aware, is through a school teacher. I was 15, and again doing some practical assessments and getting assessed over whatever 8 weeks and showing improvements and changes. And the school teacher, off the back of that, actually said, would you be interested in going to an athletics club? Wasn't really interested, happy playing football. And I threw the ball back to her and said, sure, if you get the information, I'll go along. And secretly hoping she wouldn't get the information, she did. And from there, I went along to an athletics club and actually met the guy, Steve McGuire, who coached me all the way up to London 2012. So that's kind of where my sport started for me, and kind of progressed to where I got involved in athletics. And from there, obviously, a bit of success that you mentioned.
And you had so many memorable moments in your career and even in, I guess, your personal life as well. What, if you were to choose one from each, what do you think that would be, you know, in relation to a real standout moment?
I think from a sporting capacity would definitely be London 2012. I mean, everybody knows that was kind of the turning point for the Paralympic Games, and obviously I'd been through 2008 and I'd seen the change. And that a lot of credit goes to the UK and London for what they did around that Games, and the awareness that kind of brought the whole thing to light, and started to this perception of disability had that shop window to start changing and look at what people can do rather than what people can't do. So that kind of London 2012, you had that bubbling along in the background. You had a Games that was so close to home. The media attention was huge around it, again, because it was so close to home. There was family and friends could all go. There was no issues getting there, cost issues. So just that whole experience. And then on top of that, that's where my best performances have been. So on the track was at the best. Crowds were incredible, the atmosphere, and then all those things that kind of fell with it. So for me, that's definitely been the best within sport.
What a memorable games they certainly were. And in relation to, I guess, your your career again, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, you know, whether as a youth or as a more experienced athlete?
Again, hard to put it down to one specific bit of advice. I think probably what I've been fortunate through a lot of my career has been around people that are amongst the best of what they do. From coaches, from some of the support services, from athletes being amongst the best in the world. I've been fortunate to learn from people operating at that very top end of performance and everything that goes with that, the drive, the commitment, the discipline, what it takes and mentally what it takes. So I think for me, and it's not really an advice from one person, but in some ways it's what I've got from those people is the need, if you want to be successful in whatever it is you want to be successful at, is the need to surround yourself with people that are very good at what they do, because they're the people that are going to get you to that next level and keep challenging you and finding ways for you to improve.
Great stuff, and that's certainly wonderful advice for our listeners and attendees this evening. And tell us, how does Jason Smyth unwind when you're not busy training and recovering and preparing for competition? What do you like to do to relax?
I tend to, again, depends on where I'm relaxing. If I'm relaxing away on camp, they don't really do much. I honestly, I'm really chilled and like just doing very little. When I'm at home, that's a completely different ballgame. I have two young kids, 2 and 5, so I don't actually think or feel like I get or have to worry about what I do in my downtime or relaxing time. I have to get away to go on camps to get the switch off for a little bit. So
they certainly really keep you busy. So
yeah, they certainly do.
Good stuff, good stuff. And I guess, Jason, it's been a funny year for all of us, and no different than yourself. I guess you were preparing for Paralympic Games and all that changed, and you know, with lockdowns and that. So, what piece of advice would you give to our attendees this evening? You know, in looking after their physical and mental health during what are challenging times for everyone.
Yeah, it certainly is challenging times, and again, there's never always one easy answer that helps people in certain situations. But again, it's always easy saying this, and applying it's always is the real challenge. But for me, it's about trying to find the opportunities in whatever, you know, the situation brings. I know this is obviously a challenge that really globally everybody is facing, but you know, we all face those challenges individually throughout all our lives, and obviously visually impaired people are well aware of the challenges that they can face, but it's trying to find those opportunities in those moments. And from my experience, the challenges for me have been the times that I've improved the most, the times that I've been able to grow the most, change and adapt, and ultimately that's what helps you, I suppose, move forward and try and improve as a person. Again, very easy to say in some of these moments, look for the opportunities, but it's that slight shift in mindset and trying to search for those opportunities, as I say.
Absolutely, some great advice there, Jason. So for the minute, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much. We'll be back to you later on in the show for a 60-minute quick fire round. So don't go too far. For the minute, I'm going to hand you back to Joe, who's going to introduce our next guests. Thanks very much, Jason.
Thank you, Pádraig, and thank you, Jason. Yeah, there's some wise words came out there. I have a stupid question for you, Jason. Really, you know me now, and you know the stupid questions I ask you. Like, you know, what's your favourite confectionery?
What's yours?
No. Well, I think I know the answer. You
What
like eating the toffees. You're a Liverpool fan, you like eating everything. The toffees. Come on. Listen, we're going to move on. Okay. Let me introduce you to Christina Miller from the NCBI Vision Sports office. Christina, I often think she's a day or so ahead of us. Well, she actually is, because she comes from Adelaide in Australia. And sometimes I think she might be a year or two ahead of me, but there you go. But Christina, she's what would you say? She's bright and bubbly, and she's here to introduce us to our second special guest of the night. Over to you, Christina.
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. And I have the pleasure of interviewing tonight Frank. And if Vision Sports had a Hall of Fame, like, it would just be a photograph of Frank. He is one of our most cherished coaches, and he has the most amazing story to tell. At 85 years young, Frank is the picture of health and is always found beside the pool. But unfortunately, with lockdown at the moment, with all pools and leisure centres closed, Frank has found himself with a bit of extra time in his hands. So he's gladly agreed to come on tonight's podcast. So thank you very much, Frank. I suppose my first question for you is, in the week that's been in it, has anyone ever told you that you look a bit like Joe Biden?
Yeah, but more people told me I look like Jackie Charlton.
Okay. I don't know which one's better.
But you see, he's dead, so.
So maybe Joe Biden is the win for this week. Look, I'll take that. I'll take that. You're very popular in the US, so maybe if you decide to go on holiday there next year after the vaccine, it could be a good time for you. But getting on to the actual questions now.
You've just barred me from entrance to the States in the next year.
You never know. I don't know. Maybe you'll get some free accommodation out of it. It could be good. You could walk straight through the doors. Wonderful. So I suppose, Frank, 85 years young, you've got to be doing something right. Do you have any secrets or tips for us that you could share? I'm hoping I could bottle this up and sell it.
Wake up each morning.
That's a good start. That's a very good start.
It's to have a long, what do you call it, line in the family, because aunts and uncles all to a good old age. And so I suppose, I don't know, my father died young, Lord rest him. My mother died in her late 70s, so I don't know. It must be the Dublin air or whatever it is. It's I'm not objecting to it, by the way.
It definitely must be that Dublin air. Wonderful. So I suppose in your past years and years you've been a swimming coach, tracing it right back to day dot, can you tell us how you first got involved in swimming?
By accident and by frustration. Long story, but very long story short. A friend of mine in a residents association, where we didn't have roads, we didn't have parks, we didn't have anything, and we had to make do a lot with the new estate, families growing up, kids running around, and we had to get them into sports and to games in the street and all that kind of thing. And a pal of mine, he said to me, Frank, he said, down at the local school, they're opening a pool. This is in Glasnevin, St. Vincent's. And I said, do you think we could get some swimming lessons going? He said, yeah, it'd be grand, great ideas. So we touted around and we got numbers. And then we went to the school and they said, yeah, that's grand. And coincidentally, we opened, and we were the first class on the first day that pool opened. It's now closed, unfortunately. We had to get a teacher, and we were recommended a teacher whom we got. And he said, listen, I can give you for so long. He said, for a couple of months, once every Sunday morning. And he said, fine, that's grand, and came along to give a help. So we had to fill a pool of 60 people, and to make it pay, as it were, going back in the old days, a shilling each. But he only took 12 at a time. And so myself and Jack had to look after the rest of the people in the pool. Now, my knowledge of swimming was confined to swimming in the canal, in the Talca River, in quarries. That's another huge, huge story. Could talk hours about that. And so technique was something, and developing a swimmer was something I knew nothing about. So I'd be running down to them all the time. They said, hang on to the side, kick their legs, keep them legs straight, which is a monotonous exercise as far as I'm concerned after a while. And so Jack had asked me, and then I'd run down, come back. So this continued for a while. So I sat down one of the days later on and said, Jack, I had to do something about this. So then I said, look, I'll go and join a swimming teacher's course. And I got in touch with the association, and then I started with a Brenda O'Connell, who was the secretary of the swimming, and she was also a tutor. And so it developed from there. And so I came back with a bit of knowledge, got Jack to take his teachers, then others helped to familiarize parents with the techniques of the stroke. So some of them would give a hand, probably reminding, there was 2 of us to look after 60 swimmers. You learned fast, and you learned a lot. But all the while, I sort of looked after books, any knowledge, didn't have the situation like this on television, computers, etc. And televisions were just coming in black and white and comparing work, as it were. And so the knowledge was by reading, asking people, talking to people, and it all developed there. So I started doing more courses, getting more knowledge, went into coaching, went into aquafit, which is exercise, parent and child. And but in way back at the time, we had some children in the area who were a little bit disabled, different disabilities, call them different names down to what they're technically called now. And we always made space for 6. And it kind of developed from there. I was talking to a friend of mine who said, listen, they're looking for a teacher up in Island Bridge, John of God's. Give a hand out. I said, okay. My work allowed me to do this because I was a sales rep. So I used to do a couple of hours there once a week and during the daytime, and it evolved from there. And in that, there was a disability of all descriptions. And then they changed their day where I was involved. In the meantime, a sister Claire in Marion had got in touch with me to know that I'd be interested in teaching for the School for the Blind there. And I came along and I said, yeah, okay, I'll have a look at it. And so I'll give you 3 months because I have work to do, etc. And so I started a small pool. And so I said, that was grand. I had never taught classes of visually impaired swimmers before, different levels. So I worked with them, and by hook and by crook, and also by experience with dealing with other classes and people with disability beforehand, I was able to sort of muddle my way through, if you like. But one of the days out about 4 or 5 weeks, there was a gap in the classes. There was 3 classes in the afternoon, an hour each. And in the second class, so I always bring swim tops under my tracksuit when I'm teaching, even still. And so it was blank, and I went into the pool. I said, look, I'll have a swim, and I toss around. And I was swimming up and down, it was fine. And then it was a question, I said to myself, I wonder what it's like to swim blind. It was a fairly narrow pool, and it was only about, I don't know, about 18 meters, 20 meters long. And I said, okay, so I closed my eyes, started in the middle of the pool towards the deep end, swimming around, and within, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds, I found myself, my hands slamming off the side wall. Very, very tender, very, very sore. And I opened my eyes. I actually gone crooked and I was swimming. Now I know you pull harder with your strong arm than with your left, so you have to balance that out technique-wise with your swimmers. Anyway, hanging on to the side of the wall, and I was shaking my hands. Now, I'd only committed for 3 months, and I said, I am never, ever, ever going to stop doing this as long as the good Lord spares me and I have the the brains and the health to do it. And here I am today.
That's a wonderful story. I'm sad that I'm going to have to wrap it up, but I'm actually going to sneak in one more question because no. We love hearing this story. That's the thing. I could listen to this all night. I'm going to sneak one more in because I can see that Padraig is muted and he can't say anything as long as I jump in really quickly. I think lockdown's been really difficult for everyone, especially with everything pretty much closed. But what's your one little ray of sunshine been? What's the one thing you've done every day that's helped provide you with a bit of, pardon the pun, buoyancy to get you through?
During the pandemic is certainly not looking at the computer, that's for sure. That'll turn you off with all the people dying, God forbid them. And looking at people who are not, you just have to obey the rules and the regulations. Lockdown is not easy. It's easier for me because I'm retired and the wife and we have a pair of dogs and we go down to the beach every day. But the one thing that helped out a lot was I renovated, rechanged my whole back garden, and that's taken a lot of time, and putting new material in and things like that. And I also restarted doing crosswords, try and keep that brain cells ticking over. And I just obey the regulations. That's it, simple as that. Fearful for the future. In a sense, in the next year, it's going to be tough, but people just have to be sensible.
I think so. I definitely agree. And that's great to hear that you're still up and down at the beach with the dogs and the wife and the crosswords. I think these all kind of add into this extra life you're leading, which is probably the key to good health and longevity, really. So thanks very much for joining us, Frank. As always, if anybody is interested in swimming classes and joining us, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us at Vision Sports. We are always looking to join people up with new sports. And look, you might be lucky enough to get to meet Frank. So thank you, Frank. And I'm going to hand back now to Padraig.
There you go. Just ask Joe to get us 3 lanes.
Yep.
All right, Frank. That's your New Year's gift. We'll get it for you. Okay. If we could get 1 lane at the moment, we'd be very happy. Listen, we're going to move on. Thanks, Frank. Thanks, Christine. That was brilliant. And I think there could be a part 2 in this story, and maybe a part 3. Just to say, in just about 2 or 3 minutes' time, we'll be getting into we'll open all the mics, and we can have a good old chat and find out all the questions that we wanted to ask for years to Jason and Frank. But in the meantime, let's move on with our Just a Minute quiz with Padraig.
I'm not sure if I'll do Larry Gogan justice, but we're going to give the 60-minute quick fire round a go. So to begin, we're going to start with you, Jason. If you're ready.
Yep.
Okay, so you have 60 seconds. Answer as many as you can. Okay, off we go. What will you ask Santa for this Christmas?
Not sure, as long as it's not a bag of coal or those toffees Joe was offering me.
Okay, what is your favorite TV program?
More interested in movies, so Gladiator would be my favorite.
Oh, nice, good choice. If you were stuck in a desert island, what 3 things would you bring with you?
Sunglasses, a football, and some raft or boat.
Oh, nice. Okay, tell us something you're really bad at.
Seeing. Singing.
Singing. Okay, super. Who do you admire most?
My parents.
Great. The nicest place you have ever visited? I'm sure you've seen some great places in all your travels.
French Polynesian Islands.
Nice. And describe yourself in 3 words.
Laid back, driven, dedicated.
And what is your dream job?
A director of something at Liverpool.
Oh, I'm sure Joe loved that.
They wouldn't let him in, so.
Thanks very much, Jason. That was super. Thank you very much. Frank, I'm not sure if you were taking notes from Jason's answers, but you're up next. So are you ready?
By the way, I hate Joe and Jason because I'm an Everton supporter.
But the toffees are always getting licked, Frank.
Oh, where you sure? Sorry.
Okay, Frank, what will you ask Santa for this Christmas?
Peace.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Leinster Rugby, of course.
If you were stuck in a desert island, what 3 things would you bring with you?
Ooh, gosh, probably the 2 dogs and the wife.
Tell us something you're really bad at.
Swimming.
I don't believe you. Who do you admire most?
At the moment, I admire Pope Francis at the moment.
Okay, excellent. And the nicest place you have visited?
Curraclaw, New Wexford.
Okay, the lovely beach there. And describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh, Cormac, my Alan. Gone.
Describe yourself in 3 words, Frank. What do you think?
Very current. Now getting older.
And finally, what is your dream job?
Certainly not to go back to sales repping, but dream job will be to train new coaches in dealing with and training and teaching visually impaired.
Brilliant, excellent. Great work. So thanks very much, Jason and Frank. And we'll be asking each of our guests, they'll be taking part in their 60-second quickfire round. So be sure to join us each week. So I'm going to hand you back to Joe. Thanks very much, Frank and Jason.
That was sneaky.
Okay, so Christina, if you could open up the mics, okay, and I'm going to leave with Pádraig and Christina to field some questions. I just had a quick flick through the list of attendees there, and I'm seeing the great football players of Kevin Kelly and Donncha McCarthy in there. I'm seeing the girls from Dublin City Council there in there, Nuala and Lisa. And I'm seeing many more people. I think I saw Annie in there as well, and I saw Chris Watts. So you're also welcome, guys. And I think Liam O'Donoghue might be in there somewhere as well. Guys, open, the mics are open. Let's hear it. Put your hand up or shout it out of you, whichever works for you best.
You might just put your hand up and I can unmute you that way so we don't have max people trying to talk at once. If anyone has any questions.
Good.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can.
Martin, hi Martin,
Yes.
how are you going?
I didn't get in early, so can I ask Pádraig what his plan is for the year ahead for 2021? What's the top 3 items on your list, Pádraig?
Do you know what, Martin? I'm glad you're going easy on me in my first week.
Yeah.
So Martin, I suppose initially we're looking to get a feel for where things are at and the current structures and all of that. So where the exercise at the minute is information gathering and scoping. So as the weeks move on, we'll be in a better place then to I guess put a more structure on what our priorities will be for 2021. So I'll come back to you on that one if that's okay, Martin.
Okay, Pádraig. I dropped in the deep end. Is that right, Frank? He's in the deep end now. So.
All right, I've got Annie here. I'm going to unmute you, Annie. There you go. It says awesome. There we go. How's it going, Annie?
Hi, I'm going to say hello to Frank and I'm going to ask Jason, is he doing much training these days?
Yeah, I suppose we're fortunate enough. The elite athletes have exemptions to train pretty much as normal, so we still have access to all facilities, indoor and out. So yeah, games going ahead next year. We would be at this stage in the middle of winter training, so Nothing too exciting, just putting in a bit of the hard work as we start heading into the outdoor season, which wouldn't really be till April time. So yeah, training is normal.
Wonderful. Thanks, Amy. Okay, I've got the next one. We have, a namesake for you. I think it's Padraig. I've asked you to unmute there.
Hello, Christina.
Hiya, how are you?
Okay, I just want to make a quick apology. Sorry, Joe, for trying to contact you there. I got logged in. I found the connection to get into the Zoom meeting. So apologies for wrecking your head, Joe. Over the
I couldn't do anything about it. Sorry,
don't worry. No, it's good. No problem. Don't be worrying about it. I'm sorry for wrecking your head, but I'm here now. First of all, I want to say hello to you all. It's Tuesday evening. And Christina, thanks for the tandems working out well at the moment. We're doing well with it. It's running very smooth. It's running very smoothly, I have to say. I've just taken up tandem cycling recently, lads, and me and my good friend Fergus, he's my pilot, and we're doing okay with it. We're doing well with it. So the roads of Donegal are bracing themselves for this tandem flying around. But hello, Frank, the swimmer.
Hi,
and Jason, I just want to ask you, because where about in Derry are you from? Because I'm living in Muff in Donegal on the border with Derry City. Where do you come from in Derry?
I grew up in Eglinton.
Eglinton, I do know it. Yeah.
Airport, yeah.
Yeah. And you still have a Donegal manager, Ricky Sims, is it? Or do you?
No, he does. Maybe it's with stuff with Usain Bolt. That's probably where you've heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, of him. And
yeah, no, I thought you were dealing with him. You were under his management as well. But fair enough. Yeah, Derry, Eglinton, I know it well. And do you be up in Derry more? You're living in Derry, isn't it, or Eglinton?
I'm up living in Belfast, so all my family's still up in Derry. So I would. Well, I would have been up more frequently when we weren't in lockdown, and obviously over the last number of months. But yeah, I'd still tend to be up.
Look, I can only imagine. You were all psyched up for the Paralympians in this year in Tokyo, but has it really? I mean, you're still massively focused to do it next year. Has it altered things for you, or are you just taking it in the chin and getting on with it?
I mean, it alters things, and it alters things for everybody. But the reality is, it just doesn't really change what you're trying to achieve. It just changes the timeline changes. So, I think in sport at this level, you're constantly looking to whatever those major championships are. So you're never really stopped to do anything but reconsider and change what you're trying to achieve. So you're always dealt challenges. It's just about dealing with them and moving on, really.
Yeah, I hear you got a young fella there. How's everything with the young child?
Good. You probably hear her crying in the background.
Yes.
It's close to bedtime, so
yeah.
I know what that means. Grumpy and tired.
Listen, guys, that's great. Parag, thanks so much, and apologies. Apologies to everybody.
Don't be worrying. Sorry.
A few people with bad links. Is there a last question there?
I've got two more for you that are both.
Okay, we'll take two more and then we'll close.
Take two more and then we're done. I'm going to give Roisin. I'm just going to send you an unmute request. Beautiful. Hi, Roisin. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Okay. Hi guys. Unfortunately, I came in a bit late, so I have a question for both of the lads. So Frank, what sport? Or not Frank. Sorry. Jason, what sport do you do?
That's a nice, easy question. I hope you've got a hard one for Frank. I do athletics, 100 and 200 meters.
Okay.
And did you have a question for Frank as well?
Yeah. So Frank, how do you find, like, what would be your most challenges as swimming as a blind person?
Most challenging which?
Like, what would be your most like, what would be the challenges that you'd face when you're swimming as a blind person?
The main challenges are ones of a fear of the water, and the second one would be space in the pool, depending on how many people were around. And that takes a lot of getting used to because it's a strange environment. It's not like a bath or whatever. So it's a question of making sure they don't bump into each other or bang into each other or have people bang into them. But prior to that, it's a question of a confidence. And with confidence, you also instill a sense, hopefully, of safety. Because I've always, in all the courses and every, I suppose, any presentation I've given, I've always stressed the point that swimming is teaching safety. Teaching swimming is teaching safety. So I teach people to be safe first, the do's and the don'ts. And just like at the moment, just for a minute, people are swimming in the beach, and I just see them swimming out to sea. You know, I don't know what's inspiring them to do that, because a simple reason that many years back I worked as a lifeguard for the summer on a beach, and it's not the stupidity of some people. You don't realize that if you're out 100 yards and go into difficulty, by the time somebody reaches you, you could have drifted another 200 or 300 or 400 yards, and then they have to go and search and find you rather than just staying close to the shore. So I'd emphasize the aspect of safety, and then enjoyment, of course.
And Frank, never swim alone, isn't that it?
Yeah, but Joe, you see them. You see them.
Okay, we have one more question then.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's very good.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm just going to go one more for Fiona, and then. Can you hear us there, Fiona? Oh, you might still be muted.
I'll sing a song.
Oh, very good. Thank you,
Oh,
Joe.
Jason, will you join me here?
I can see Fiona's mouth moving, but I can't hear her.
Can I come in with a quick one then?
Yep, go Liam. We'll see if we can sort Fiona's microphone out.
So, yeah, three things. One is I'd like to sympathize with Joe. He has a rare and difficult condition called being a Chelsea supporter. So all of this slagging about
I guess that's why they call it the Blues.
And Liverpudlians. And speaking as a man whose mother grew up on the Cop in Anfield is, anyway, just keep taking the tablets, Joe, and you might see the light of day. That's first thing. Second thing is to welcome Podrick to the role. So with Enjoy Tennis, we worked with him very successfully in both Cork and Kildare. So I think he'd be a great addition to the Vision Sports and NCBI team. Look forward to working with you. And I couldn't leave an opportunity like this behind without inviting everybody to give tennis a go when we all get up and running again. That's to everybody around the table. Okay, thanks very much, Christina. Well done on having this event, guys. Good idea.
Thank you.
Going to jump in with Lisa next, and then we're going to try Fiona again, and then we have to close.
Yeah, so I'd just like to echo what Liam said. Park, welcome to the role. Look forward to seeing you in Dublin and working with you in your new role. So we'll grab coffee and bring you to the best coffee shops around when you come up to Dublin. Question for Frank. Frank, is there any plans to do a swim teacher or a tutor CPD for VI swimming specifically, or is that in the pipeline?
I'm not aware of it specifically, but I would suggest to do your teachers first. And then,
sorry, Frank. I taught with you last year in Sean Mack.
Yeah.
You probably don't recognise me on the Zoom.
Yeah, you look different with your clothes on, but anyway. I had swimming gear on the last time. Hey, look at that. Come on.
All right, moving on from there, we're going to go next to Fiona.
How do I follow up from that? Sorry, I missed the start, and I can't wait to go back and hear both Frank and Jason talking. I work for the NCBA. I work in the Children and Young Persons team, and we're doing a project at the minute with transition year students. It's a 9-month project, and we've got some amazing young people in it. Some are really, really into their sports. We've got a swimmer, and we've also got a sailor. You might have covered this already, but they, you know, would love to progress, you know, as a career in this. And I suppose, what would you give them? You know, what pieces of advice would you give them, you know, in order to follow their dreams and not to feel that there's barriers out there? Both, whoever wants to answer that, maybe.
Okay, well, I would say if they're interested in swimming from my end, is to continue with the swimming, and in time to develop to the stage that they would go to a recognized swimming club, competitive swimming club, I want to go that way. And then problem is with the teachers of disability and coaches who deal with swimmers with a disability. There are those out there, but they're rare enough to find. Okay, you have to go and find them and fit into their schedules. And then, as I say, just like Jason said before, then follow your dream and just work and persevere at it. There are a number of people out there to give you a hand. At the moment, from my point of view, there is a young lad who's Chris Watts, who I think is going to be an excellent, apart from an athlete, I think he's going to be an excellent teacher, and also going to be an excellent coach. So he could be the next generation that could evolve and develop the swimmers. And also from the actually, see, there's a bit of problem as regards to vision. Can you see everybody all the time when you're teaching them? Depends on the pool, depends on the environment, depends on the situation. And but I certainly wouldn't pull back. And if there's any way, how old is this?
So they're all transition year students. So we've got like a runner, we've also, you know, the lady that's a sailor, and you know, she's hopefully, you know, wants to become an instructor in sailing. And then we have the swimmer, and she gets up 2 to 3 times a week at about 5 in the morning, goes to the pool. She's part of a club, so as Jason said, she's allowed to train because she's seen as, I think, elite. So I suppose they want to kind of follow this on in their careers after they pass the Leaving Cert, you know, and I suppose they're thinking about, do I go to college first, or do I just pursue this, or do I do it alongside it?
I did an analysis many years back, I know, about swimmers, the early morning swimmers getting up and having to sort of lead their friends at nighttime sort of to get to bed, get sufficient sleep. And they did some sort of an analysis right across England, and they found that certainly the swimmer, by and large, were high achievers. Maybe it's because of the discipline and because of in the swimming at a competitive level, there's times and there's distance and there's breaking down things and there's tactics and there's working on you name it, but also the discipline of having to commit. And this is fairly important. And heaven knows we could do a lot more disability teachers. As I say, I got back on mentioning Chris, and I hope he continues. Inwardly, I hope he succeeds, maybe, because I won't last forever, as the fellow says. But the kind is, you need youngsters, you need vibrant people who will do it. And also, I think in time, disability in total will sort of reduce in people's minds as being an issue. And I think we're visually impaired with all the research and development that's going on now. If you're totally blind, well, that's difficult to go up there and teach because you can't see what you're teaching and what's happening. But most of the people who are involved are not totally blind. They have some sort of vision, and that can be enhanced. But you're aware of that, of course, and that they can do that. I would stick with it. If I can help that young swimmer when he got back on the teaching end, Friday night to Markovich, more than welcome.
Thanks very much for that advice, Frank, and thanks, Fiona, for your question. And that's certainly something we'll be looking at in Vision Sports, building capacity and providing more opportunities for swim teachers to upskill in the years ahead. So I'm just going to thank everyone for attending. I'm going to hand you back to Joe for some closing comments, and we look forward to meeting everyone again next Wednesday evening. So we're changing the day to Wednesday next week. So I'll just hand you back to Joe.
Yep, next Wednesday. Remember that one at 5:30. And as for Fiona there, Fiona, I'm fascinated what you were saying there. Okay, and I think maybe Park and myself will give you a shout in the next few days, because there's a bit of room for chat on that one. Just next Wednesday evening, our guests are, you met Annie there, she just celebrated her 12th birthday. Am I right, Annie? I hope I am. And Annie will be on with her mum to tell us about the mum being the mum of one of our greatest multi-talented athletes, and Annie is good at pretty much every sport she tries. And also next week we have the man who rode the Atlantic during COVID, the first blind person in the world ever to sail across the Atlantic. So that should be really fascinating. So look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in tonight. Sorry again about the link not working for some there, but that'll be all in good shape for next week. So look forward to seeing you all again, 8 days time, Wednesday week at 5:30. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.